All right. Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and in today's video, we're going to be answering the burning question that everyone asks me all the time. What is the strongest class in PvP? Lucky, what should I use? Titan, Hunter, Warlock? Should I use Stasis, Solar, Arc, or Void? Now that we have the revamps to all of the subclasses with 3.0, Solar, Arc, and Void, and Stasis obviously has already been like that, we're going to be talking a little bit about what the meta is, what I think the strongest class is. Of course, if you like build crafting and you like to use Solar Hunter, that's great. If you like to use Void Warlock, use those things that you like to use. But in today's video, I'm going to talk about what is probably the strongest class in PvP, at least when it comes to individual gameplay. Of course, if you're playing in Trials, you have 3v3, and so stuff like Omni Hunter is really, really good. I'm not going to deny that. But if you're talking about just solo or individual gameplay, if you're going to go into the freelance Trials this season, this is the class to use. This class is so unbelievably strong. You can freeze people in such a wide variety of ways. To demonstrate how strong this class is, Crimson's going to pop his super, and Dwayne will just freeze him out of his super by using just his Rift. He doesn't even have to use his super to fight another super. Go ahead, Crimson. Popping his missile, he puts a Rift down, and he melees him. And not only does it freeze kill him with a melee, it also freezes me, which would in turn kill me a lot of the time, so keep that in mind. This is such a good class. Let me go ahead and break down the exact aspects and fragments and the build you want to use, okay? Dwayne's got everything on here. Okay, we're Shadebinder, Warlock, we've got Winter's Wrath, we've got Healing Rift, we've got Burst Glide, the Penumbral Blast. This melee is so strong, probably the strongest melee in the game, because freezing people is... I mean, when you're fighting someone and they're frozen, they can't move, I mean, how do you lose a gunfight like that, right? Next up we have, and when you do freeze people, it's recommended to just melee them. We have Cold Snap Grenade, and then we'll go into the aspects. You've got Ice Flare Bolts. This is really important that you have all the right aspects and fragments, because it drastically changes the playstyle. You've got Shattering a Frozen Target spawn Seekers that track and freeze nearby targets. That's when Crimson was killed in his missile super. It tracked onto me and froze me. Next up we have Frost Pulse. Casting your Rift generates a shockwave that freezes nearby combatants. That's what froze Crimson in his Titan missile in the first place. And obviously that can be utilized at any given moment. You can actually rush in. I see Warlocks do this all the time. They play extremely aggressive, push into tight corners where they know shotgun people are, and they pop their Rift. It uses a slide animation, and it freezes people. All they have to do is melee them, and then it begins to send these little Ice Flare Bolts out and freeze other nearby targets. It's really, really good. I've seen some crazy plays with this for a long time now, and I wanted to make a video talking about this. Next up, we've got Whisper of Chains. When you're near frozen targets or a friendly stasis crystal, you take reduced damage from targets. This is going to be important for a variety of different reasons, but if you want to, you don't have to use this, but this does really help to incorporate in the build, which is a headstone weapon. This shotgun right here, the No Reprieve, actually complements this build way better than a lot of people realize. It's got Pugilist and Headstone, so basically by getting final blows with this weapon, you generate melee energy, which is going to be one of your strongest attributes with this, is that freezing melee. And dealing melee damage briefly improves the weapon handling, so you're going to have some really good handling when you do get those melee hits on them. Then we've got Headstone with this. So this is going to spawn a Stasis Crystal. So Dwayne, to demonstrate this, will shoot Crimson in the head with this, and you can see it'll spawn a Stasis Crystal. And now by standing near this, he'll have damage resist. He can also shoot this crystal, and it will give him more energy back, so that way he has even more abilities to spam, so he can constantly be freezing people over and over and over again. So that's just one alternative. You don't have to use that Slug Shotgun. That's just one alternative. You can also use the Wastelander, can get Pugilist if you're just using the melee energy. Blood Feud, Battler, Zali's Bane, they all get that Pugilist perk for more melee energy, but of course, only a few of them actually get the one for Headstone. Now going back into the subclass here, we'll talk a little bit about the rest of the fragments we have. We've got Whisper of Fissures, increase the damage and size of the burst of stasis when you destroy a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. So this is really helpful if you freeze two targets, you'll hit one and it can kill the other one nearby. And that's why you want that on. And then we've got Whisper of Shards, shattering a stasis crystal temporarily boosts your grenade recharge rate. Shattering additional crystals increases the duration of this benefit. So that's going to be really important with those headstone kills or headstone crystal smashes right there. And then we've got Whisper of Durance, slow from your abilities to last longer. For those abilities that linger, their duration will also increase. We're not actually utilizing the slowing effect with this particular build and subclass. We're just using that for the plus 10 strength, so that way we can get 100 strength, which is going to bring me to my next point, which is try to get 100 recovery and 100 strength with this build. And then if you can, if you got triple 100 builds, if you haven't seen my triple 100 guide on how to get those stats easily, get 100 recovery, 100 strength, and then 100 discipline. It's going to be really, really strong. As far as exotics go, you've got Claws of a Hamakara are extremely good. You have a few others like Osmiomancy gloves work really well. And even you could just rock Ophidian aspects if you want the benefits of that. It's always a good option. It doesn't necessarily complement the build, but it's just a good overall and all-around exotic. The primary exotic being used by warlocks, statistically speaking. So that's how this subclass is used. It's extremely strong. Let me know your thoughts about it down in the comment section below. And make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed. Smash the like button. I'll see you in the next one. Later.